Hey, it's Rick Silva and Mark. Whoo, Mark. So we're going to go off the cuff a little bit here at first. So Mark's, I'd like to say we're really, really, really good friends who never get to see each other. With COVID and the fires, we got to stay inside the house. So before I do the official introduction of Mark, Mark's just one of the most upstanding, nicest guys I've ever met. And since this is a networking channel, even though today we're going to be talking about alternative lending for small business owners, Mark is the singularly best natural networker I've ever met, meaning it's somebody who I haven't really spent a lot of time training, and he's as good as anybody I've ever met. So, Mark, if you can, and I'm hitting you with this, and you don't even know I'm hitting you with this. When I ask you the questions, if you can once in a while, and if the interview goes a half an hour, 40 minutes, or if it goes 10 minutes, however long it goes, once just throw in some little biz dev ideas, since this is a biz dev channel. So let me introduce Mark, and we'll start asking Mark questions. So Mark Legiacono is the CEO of Unlimited Business Loans. Unlimited Business Loans is a nationwide alternative lender supporting anyone in need of funding, yet for any reason they cannot obtain funding from traditional bank sources. Whether it's a personal loan, business loan, real estate loan, Unlimited has you covered. I like that. The most important power partner for Mark would be relationship managers or loan officers at banks. These bankers are tasked with helping their clients obtain funding. However, in most cases, cannot take the risk associated with these clients. In comes Mark and Unlimited Business Loans, obtaining funding for their clients, saving the day for both the client and the referring banker, making bankers look like heroes. You want to say anything, Mark, before I ask you the first question?
I think we're all done. That's a wrap, right?
Pretty much.
No, I value the friendship, Rick, and the business that we've been able to do together, and I certainly value the opportunity here this morning. So, fire away and let's educate.
Yep. So, first question, Mark, why is the topic of alternative lending sources so important for customer relationship managers and loan officers at banks?
Well, as in your dialogue there just a minute ago, bankers are tasked with a lot of different pieces, both branch initiatives and lending initiatives for their clients, and many times they simply cannot, or the bank will not allow them to take the risk associated to what that client needs. And if the loan officer or customer relationship manager does not have an outlet of someone like my organization, they stand to lose much more than just the loan. Many clients will leave the bank and go to another bank or an alternative source and move everything. Mom's account, dad's account, kids' accounts, estate or trust accounts, everything. They can lose it all just simply because they are unable to satisfy a lending requirement.
Got it.
We're not a bank. We simply get the loan for the client, we move out of the way, and the banker, so to speak, maintains the relationship with the client and maintains control.
Okay. So, Mark, what's your main goal? The question technically reads, what's the purpose of doing this interview? What's your goal in this interview? I'm assuming it's to educate bankers that there's a way to save their client so they don't feel hopeless, but you can go deeper. I know so much about what you do. I don't want to answer your questions for you.
No, it's fine. It's kind of I call it a win-win-win. The banker maintains control. It looks like a hero, recommends a source that can solve the particular problem of the client. The client wins because they either can start a business or stay in business, and we win because we make a little commission on the project. But it is a win-win-win. Everybody involved has a successful play in this, and most importantly, and especially for the banker, he or she wants to help his client. In many cases, again, cannot. So by recommending a source like us, they solve a lot of different problems, emotionally as well as in the business world.
Okay. Any special disclaimers or warnings you have for customer relationship managers at the banks?
We are not a bank, and it's very important that these individuals understand that when you go to the alternative world or the alternative source, we are not the 3.25 advertised interest rates. Our interest rates can start from 5% and go as high as 200%. It will depend on what the client has done in the past and what they're doing in the future.
Okay. Mark, what's your background in alternative lending?
So I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've never been an employee. I shouldn't say that. My first 3 years out of college, I was an employee, but I wound up buying that company. So in 30 some odd years of my career, I've only been a business owner, and I have lived through all of these loans that we support in one way or another to keep my businesses growing, and in addition to that, allow startup situations as well. So I have lived in this world my entire career. Now, for the first time, I'm actually somebody who can help these business people with, again, alternatives that you wouldn't find in a traditional sense.
Okay. Mark, since I've known you so long, I know you have, this answer could be 3 weeks long, but do you want to give a couple examples of case studies or results that you've had with clients where maybe they couldn't get a traditional loan? Maybe 1 or 2 quick examples.
So one example would be, I've had many retail, or we'll just call it retail establishments, where they are moving quickly. They move clients quickly through swiping credit cards and various ways of payment. And they don't always have the best credit. They don't always have the most time in the world to maintain their credit or do the things that they want to do in the long run. So we do solve a lot of problems for merchants with what we call quick money. Now, it is expensive, but we will come in, we will look at the cash flow of the business. The credit score of the owner is almost irrelevant, and based on the cash flow of the business, we are able to get them anywhere from $25,000 to $200,000 or even more. So that can solve a lot of problems, and in addition to that, we can fund in under 72 hours. So if you can imagine being a merchant that needs quick money, maybe some emergency occurred, or they've got a large order coming in that they know they're going to get, but they need to buy supplies for it. It's a great problem solver. Another one that's kind of interesting is, in many cases, in the real estate realm, we do a lot of what you would consider untraditional funding, but again, it's for people who sometimes either timing or it doesn't necessarily have to be credit. It could be a building that the bank just doesn't like, or the location, or some particulars around the physical aspect of the building, and they simply won't fund it. Or it even could be, I've had them where a client has too many properties in his portfolio, and the bank therefore won't touch the deal. So most banks will, after 15 properties, they will say no. And the new property, which is number 16, could be a perfectly fine opportunity. So we will jump in, solve that particular problem, and again, keep that client at that bank.
Okay. Mark, I'm going to read it the way it's written. What's your number 1 tip for being more efficient with the alternative lending sources to get better results with less effort? I'm assuming that's helping them do these things with less effort, because I'm assuming it's because you come in and help them.
Yeah, I mean, our job is to make their life easy. So we have a golden rule, or our number 1 tip is set it and forget it. Once we have been introduced to the client, we take over for that particular project. We gather the necessary information. We will walk the facilities if it's required. We will do the underwriting. We do everything for them. We will, of course, communicate with the loan officer through the process if they like us to. Some loan officers don't want to be bothered, but we do like to just take it over, get it accomplished, and move the client back to the bank. And so set it, forget it is a big tip that we live by.
Okay. Is it possible for customer relationship managers to outsource any of their business to you? If yes, how and where and how do they do it?
So of course, they every time they refer a client to us, they're outsourcing a piece of their business. And of course, we're extremely respectful of that because it is, at the end of the day, it is their number one asset, their customer. So we take great pride in taking care of that particular client, and then again, moving them back to the customer and making, or back to the bank, and making sure that everything has been accomplished that we were tasked with doing, and then keeping them safe at the bank.
We're going to ask you to put the crystal ball. What changes do you see on the horizon in the next 6 months for regarding alternative lending sources?
Well, we're unfortunately with COVID upon us, we've experienced a tremendous amount of volume and increase in volume, and we see that continuing as the SBA world continues to service disaster relief, as banks are now going to be moving or shifting from providing that disaster relief and now moving into forgiveness aspects of that. They're going to be very, very busy, and lending will become a less prioritized item for the bank because they will be so bogged down with requirements around the disaster. So we see the next 6 months a lot of opportunity. We've experienced it already, where banks are finding it very difficult to lend, and therefore the alternative market has literally exploded in all realms: personal lending, business lending, and in real estate lending.
So I want to gear at least one question to the small business owner, but I'm going to ask you this one, and then I want to talk to you a little about, instead of about the bank, about the small business owner and what they can do. So here's the last question. What's the number one thing every customer relationship manager should do tomorrow to kickstart their business and kickstart their efforts in working with you?
So one of the most important things I found, and this gets back to what you were talking about on networking, I've always believed that networking is a two-way street. So in my world, bankers send me their declines, they send me people that they're unable to help. But more importantly, when you have a relationship with unlimited business loans, I do my very best to make sure that what I give back is the connections to professionals in the community that they otherwise would not have met. So I introduce them to estate attorneys, real estate attorneys, CPAs, financial advisors. And every time they meet one of these individuals, behind them is their entire client list. And my hopes is that the banker or the loan officer and the CPA meet, they hit it off, and they both help one another build their own books of business. And I'm simply the facilitator in doing that. And I believe when you work with my organization, one of the most important things that you'll receive back, not only the good feeling of taking care of your customer, but also a reach into the community that you otherwise just simply would not have been able to get.
That's by plugging into your network and then their network. So before I ask you the last question, Mark, this one's not on there, so I'm kind of making it up as we go. I don't want to take away from banks, but there are people who are going to find you. Maybe people who don't have there's some banks out there that just simply don't do any type of funding that they're looking for. They don't even have a bank that does it. So give some ideas of what a small business owner, how the advantage of, like, the last question is where can they find you? But I like if you could give some advice to a small business owner who, I mean, I've talked to so many, like restaurant owners, they're hurting. A lot of small business owners, it's crazy, Mark, but I see a lot of small business owners, the first thing they do is they start to cut out their marketing. I don't have any money, so I'm going to cut out my marketing, where when you should be tripling your marketing, not turning up. So what give me some advice if they were getting a loan from you. Now, forget the banks. I'm talking about small business owners, some of the things they could do after they get the money from you. Give some ideas on what they could use the loan for, if you don't mind.
Right. So obviously, with what you just said, marketing is critical. This is the time that you double and triple up on marketing. And marketing's changing, as we all know. Look at what we're doing this morning. You know, but nevertheless, you've got to budget for it. A lot of my successful funding recipients will attack their marketing budget and they will flourish in that regard. A lot of them will also hire more people so that they can get menial tasks out of the way or off their desks so that they can focus on what they need to be doing, which is customer generation. And in addition to that, you know, people for process reduction, money for marketing, and then also in today's day and age, I have seen that social media has become an integral part to all of this as well. So more budget, because you simply in this world don't want to be the best kept secret in your industry because you're just not going to make it. So, and I'll just share also with some of the funding that we do, in some cases, especially for small businesses, mom and pop type organizations, our loans in some cases will come with a financial consultant who will actually work through a business plan, because a lot of these people have never done one or even seen one. They'll actually build a business plan as part of the funding process and help you implement that as well. So it's not just, hey, here's the money, good luck.
Another one that you weren't prepared for, but I have no doubt you could knock this one out of the park. Give me 2, 3, 4, 5 word-for-word quotes I'm going to hear a business owner say that's going to make me think of you.
I'd like to buy out a business partner, but the bank won't let me. I'd like to expand my company, but the risk is too high for the bank. I had a recent bankruptcy, and I'm unable to go to the bank, but I still need to grow my company. I'd like to start a business, and banks don't like startups. I have a piece of land that I'd like to purchase and develop, and the banks don't like land. Or I have a building that has not passed phase 1 inspections, and I need to obtain a loan on that building until I can get it to pass inspections.
Awesome. The reason I need those quotes, not only because of people that are watching this or watching this on record, it kind of resonates with them, but it's how I use those quotes to optimize the video so more people can find it. So it's good to have those quotes. So Mark, I have your email address scrolling across the bottom.
Yes.
Do you want to give any other information out about how banks, lenders, or small business owners who are struggling to get a loan can get a hold of you besides the email address?
Well, you can always call my cell, which is always on me. It's live. It's my only cell. It's 925-915-7406. Email is typically the best, but with that number I gave, you can also text. And obviously, our domain is unlimitedbusinessloans.com. If you'd like to go to the website, you can see preliminarily what we do, the multitude of loans that we have, and then when you do contact me, you know, we can have a more specific conversation. It's really how in my world, it's really how people want to communicate, and I just satisfy that.
Look at the bottom of the screen. Did I get it right?
Yes, you did. Perfect.
Perfect. I want to let it scroll one more time across. Mark, I know you're a busy dude. Thank you very much for your time. Virtual hug, because I can't be near you, unfortunately. So there's big. Thank you very much. So everyone, thanks for watching. This will go up on my YouTube channel. One referral away. I'll show you that right there. Well, that's my email address, but it's also YouTube at one referral away. It's right there on the screen. I'm going to put you back up, Mark. I'll scroll you. You're breaking up a little bit, Mark. What's that?
I said thank you for all that you do.
Thank you. Okay. Thanks a lot. I'm going to end the broadcast. Good to see you, Mark. I'll see you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.